Hi, my name's Seth, and I'm the owner of Sirrel LLC, the easiest way to buy life insurance. Here's a quick overview video of some of the basics of life insurance, covering some of the most common questions that our clients have. What is life insurance? Well, to oversimplify the whole thing, life insurance is a tool that helps you prevent screwing your loved ones over financially if you die. And the cool thing is, a lot of places, you don't even have to die to get some of that money. These things are called living benefits. I'm not gonna go into a lot of detail right here, but basically critical, chronic, or terminal illness. So if you're really, really sick, or if you're so sick you're gonna die, or if you're basically not capable of taking care of yourself in the major daily activities, then you can have access to some of this money. Do you need life insurance? Well, is your death going to be a financial burden on anybody for any period of time? If the answer is yes, then you probably need life insurance. And what do I mean by a financial burden? Your average burial costs in this country gonna range between $5,000 and $15,000. So that's one thing, but also your debt, unfortunately, doesn't die with you. It is going to go to somebody you love. Think about your mortgage, think about your car payments, student loans, credit cards. Do you have yourself a timeshare that you're not gonna be able to get rid of? Well, somebody's gonna have to pay that bill. One thing for sure, if you have dependent children, you probably need life insurance. If you have a mortgage and you have a spouse and you know that they can't afford that mortgage, if you were to lose your paycheck, then you probably need life insurance. So we have these two types of policies, term and whole life, that basically act as a financial tool to not screw your friends and family over financially. Term policy lasts for a term, a period of time. So usually these things last between 10 and 30 years, but you can kind of get them from any range. Why would anybody want life insurance that goes away? Because it's really cheap. All life insurance is based on how long the company expects you to live, and based on actuarial tables, how sick you are, all of these things. Well, when you buy a policy that only lasts for a little bit of time, they don't expect you to actually cash in on that policy. You can get a whole heck of a lot of coverage for a little bit of money because they basically don't expect you to actually cash this in. So what is a whole life policy? A whole life policy is you will get a certain amount of money if you pay this premium for the rest of your life, so until you die. Generally, what this is going to be sold as is final expense insurance. These are usually smaller policies, and you're not going to get nearly as much bang for your buck with these things because they will guarantee they're going to give you a certain amount of money. Why would anybody want a whole life policy? Because if you're in a situation where maybe you're on a fixed income, or you just know that you're not going to be able to save up that chunk of money for your final expenses, or if you don't have any, if your loved ones are not kind of in a place that they can financially absorb that money until your will has kicked in. The beautiful thing about life insurance is it doesn't have to go through probate, which is a fancy legal deal that you got to go to court to make sure your will is legit, basically. Another thing that's fantastic about a whole life policy is it can give you access to those living benefits that we talked about before, which is if you get terminal, critical, or chronic illness, then you can have access to some of this money. So that's another reason why a whole life policy is a good option. So we have these two types of policies, term and whole life, that basically act as a financial tool to not screw your friends and family over financially. And then you have this other type of insurance that is basically used to take advantage of the tax benefits from life insurance. There are some fantastic tools that maybe you've heard of. Some of these are annuities, some of these are indexed universal lives, and some other products that I'm not going to get into right now. But just understand there is this whole other topic of life insurance that deals with basically growing your money. People will call these investments, but they are not investments. Investments are a totally different type of risk. Just understand these are basically the two different ways that life insurance protects you. Protects you from screwing over your loved ones financially, and then takes advantage of these things over here, takes advantage of them to basically protect and grow your money. How much life insurance do you need? If you look on the internet, you're gonna get this random rule of thumb that you need 10 times your income, which doesn't make any sense to me. Life insurance should be case-to-case situation. Somebody that has 8 kids and a mortgage and only one person working in this family and they're all trying to go to college, you're probably going to need a lot more money than 2 people in their 60s that children are grown, they're already in retirement, they've got many assets in place. Like, that's going to be a very different situation. And even as opposed to like somebody who's single, which for those out there wondering, if you're single, do you need life insurance? The answer is maybe. It depends on your financial situation. I will tell you this, I am single with not a lot of assets and I have life insurance. I have a lot of life insurance, but that's because I have access to those living benefits that we talked about before. Because I'm not so worried about dying and leaving somebody with a big financial burden, but I am worried about getting diagnosed with cancer or some other major illness, or just getting in a terrible accident and me not being able to afford my rent or having somebody else have to come in and take care of me. So that is why I have life insurance. And I think there are a lot of reasons that single people should have life insurance. But again, this all depends on your own financial situation, which is why I would recommend you getting on the phone and talking with an agent. You need enough insurance to not screw your loved ones over. That's what I'm going to say. Anything after that is like a bonus, but a lot of people do take it as their responsibility to provide from their family, even if that means providing for them after you're gone, which life insurance is a phenomenal tool to do that. What if you already have life insurance through work? First of all, good for you for getting one of those jobs that actually gives you benefits. Secondly, though, just understand the vast majority of these policies that you get through work are not going to go with you after you leave work. So the second that you're done, if you get laid off or fired or retired, if you get in a car accident going home the day you quit, you are not protected. Another thing to understand about policies through work is they're all different. They might not be a full policy. They might just be an accidental policy. They might just cover you when you're at work. There's just a lot of things to understand, which is also why it's really important to go through a policy review if you already do have a policy, so that you can have an agent look at exactly what you're protected for, how much you're protected for, and if your spouse or children are also on that policy. So I would say get as much cheap life insurance as you can, because these are generally group policies, but you should also have something in your control for life that you're never going to be able to lose, that you can lock in with your health now. What if you've already been turned down for life insurance? What a lot of people don't understand is that there is countless carriers and countless products out there. You may have only been talking with an agent that's contracted with a few or maybe even one type of policy that might have really strict requirements. Just because you're rejected for one policy doesn't mean that there aren't other policies out there. Basically, the way that life insurance works is each carrier develops a policy that they decide specifically who they're willing to cover, and this is based on how long they think you're going to live. So they might just arbitrarily decide that they don't want to cover that thing that you have, that cancer or that diabetes or smoking or whatever it might be, but this carrier over here might be happy to do so. I can pretty much say with a massive grain of salt, anybody with a pulse can get life insurance. There are things called guaranteed issues, which if you have a pulse and you're under a certain age, some of these go up to like 90 years old, you will get life insurance. It's just important to understand that there is a wide range of policies out there. That's why it's important to talk with an agent and to shop around. How do you buy life insurance? Before COVID, it was quite a bit different. You generally would have some sort of form that you would fill out, and an agent would get their hands on that one way or another. Either the agency would provide it for them or they would have to find an outside vendor. And then basically we would spend all day calling you, trying to set an appointment to come to your house, explain to you what type of coverage we have, see if you qualify, and then get you to buy a policy. Quite frankly, it's not a fantastic way of doing it, at least not the way I think so. After COVID, the whole industry is going through a technological shift where they're now allowing us to sign these contracts via email or telephone, which makes it a lot easier for us and a lot easier for you, Because we can take care of these quickly, we can get you this information, and then we can schedule another appointment later if you need time to think about it. Or we can go ahead and just take care of it right there over the phone or over email. That's why I'm building this agency, is because we're specializing in trying to do this remotely. So we don't have to come to your house, we don't have to bug you, and a matter of fact, we don't even want to call you unless you're ready to get a quote. We have provided all of this information on the internet via blogs or videos, and we just would like to give you this information at your own pace, at your own time, and you can let us know when you're ready to talk to an agent and get a quote.